Howdy folks, how you going? Thanks for joining me in the brewery. Time to drink some beer. Well, a beer, not some. Well, some. Either way, it's tasting day on this fella, the Australia Day Recoverale. It's been a while. If you've been waiting for it, I apologise it's taken so long. There's been other beers that have popped in the way, and it's been tap locked. I couldn't get it into the keg fridge. I got it cold in one of the unused ferment fridges while I was recovering from the hernia op, and so that allowed me to get some sampling done, see how it was progressing. But then it's gone from there, back on the garage floor. It's taken a little bit to get back in to the fridge, but here we are, we've made it. So I'll throw a link up the top to Brew Day so you can get back and have a look at that, see what happened, and get some of the story. I'm not going to go through the story again. So before I get into tasting this, quick shout out to all the Patreons of Little John's. Thank you for all your support. There's a link down the bottom in the description if you'd like to look at what Patreon is and what it's about. Might be good for you. There's little bonuses for everyone. There's extra videos, there's prizes, there's recipes and things that go out. Yeah, and there's my heartfelt thank you for helping out the channel. That Patreon support lets me play around and do unusual brews and trials and experiments and stuff. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button down there, ring the bell so you get notified, you don't miss any videos. If you are subscribed, thank you very much. And if you like watching me drink beer, give me a thumbs up. But anyway, Australia Day Recoverale. Australian Redgum smoked malt from Voyager down there in Barellin, not too far down the road, about 2 hours away. They're a local, becoming very popular with the Australian craft beer scene with their malts, and I tagged that into a fairly standard American amber ale, or what I interpreted as a standard American ale. Never brewed an American amber before, so I was taking a little bit of best understanding I could of the recipe to get it there, but I think in the end she's worked out pretty good. So that's what we've got. She's fairly deep gold, slight reddish, very slight reddish hue, definitely very amber, and it's just got this lovely smoky sweet nose to it. It's very reminiscent of campfire. I've commented several times when I was first drinking it. The smoke nose has settled a little bit as it's conditioned. It's now nearly 2 months old, since it was finished fermenting. So the nose is settling a little bit, but you get this impression of bacon smoking in a pan over an open campfire, burning some lovely Australian gum. And then there's this lovely sweet nose coming through the back. There's like almost a mapley, maple syrup, sweet, syrupy sort of, golden syrup, that sort of thing coming through as well, combining, which, everyone knows, that sort of thing. Bacon and syrup. They're the fucking combination, and it just really works well. And then there's some deep sweetness coming on the nose from the malts. Yeah, on a base of Voyager schooner, around 21% crystal or caramels, cara wheat, caramel light, cara Munich, SM40. So it's bringing quite a bit of that sweetness into the brew. Little hints of, yeah, toffee coming on the balance, and that just mixes so nicely with the smoke. The Redgum's at 5% of the grain bill. It's a pretty heavy smoke addition from looking at other recipes, but it just works so well. So you start with some smoke. Like I said, you get that fire smell and that bacony note, and it comes on and it comes sweet through the mouth, and it gets a little sweet, but doesn't get carried away with itself. You know, there's nice malts there, and then it flows off. Then it flows off into the hops and finishes with yeah, what is a very traditional, old school hop schedule. Yeah, a bittering addition of Columbus, and then El Dorado at 15, Amarillo at 10, Citra at 5. Yeah, some very solid American citrusy sort of hops. Nothing post-boil, nothing in a whirlpool, nothing dry. Very old school, and it just sits there. Finishes off the beer with a nice fruitiness, but because there's nothing post-boil, there's no real big savage amounts of that fruit, so it doesn't get too let's say, it doesn't get too bright fruit. It's enough to balance off and round out the smoke sweetness without getting its own addition of fruit sweet. So it ties it together very well. And then once you finish, once your mouth empties, what the? Once your mouth empties and you draw breath from the swallow, that smoky smell moves from your mouth up in the back of your mouth, up into your nostrils, and you finish with that campfire smell again. So you start with the campfire, you go down in this nice little sweet space that sort of ripples through, you know, through the malt and then through the hops, and then the smoke comes up again to finish it off. And it's just really nice. Yeah, it's unusual, it's different, it's unique. I feel a bit like fucking Kath and Kim, but yeah. bit like our Kath day night there, but it's a very different beer than, you know, what you'd normally drinking. It's something you don't come across too often. Smoked beers aren't real common, and certainly in a home brew scale, it's not something you see many people doing. But it just works so well. That's just a lovely beer. Certainly a beer I recommend having a crack at. I do want to do this beer, but as an Australian amber ale. Now, I don't know if that's a style that really even exists, if there's anything that would really even fall into that category. There was a beer, well, I don't know if it's still available, and it changed over the years, but when I first drank it, and that was a beer from Endeavour Brewing, and it was just an amber ale, reserve amber ale. And this was from Endeavour before they moved into the city, when they still were brewing down in the Southern Highlands. When they were small, when they first started out. It was a sensational beer, and it was very unique. It was Australian. It was, you know, an amber ale that was brewed with Australian ingredients. I think it used a lot of topaz. It was probably the first beer I'd ever experienced that had topaz in it. And it was a great beer. That beer has changed over the years. They've added extra hops to it, and it has changed. It's nothing like what it was originally at, and it was a far better beer originally. But that is the only example I can think of that I've ever seen of what would be classified as an Australian amber ale. But I think that's what this needs. So I think I'm going to have a look at this again, maybe after winter. Because God knows you want to brew a bushfire beer. Let's do it in summer. That's the Australian thing to do, I think. Bushfire's a summery thing. Even though the campfire is probably more a wintry thing. Anyway, but that's where I'm thinking I'd like to take this beer down the track. As it is, this is a really good beer. One of the best beers I've ever brewed. Like I'm really happy with it. But like I said, I think to really keep with that Australian theme, I think that's where we're going to go. So that's something for down the track. But right now, take this recipe, have a crack at it. If you've never brewed a smoked beer, do it. Get yourself some smoked malt, brew one up. You won't be disappointed, and you'll be sending. When you do, send me some thank yous. But anyway, guys, that's me. I've got to continue on. The fucking alarms are going off. I've got bloody cluster 8 brew going over here. I need to move on with it. Looking forward to that one too. But anyway, everyone, thank you for supporting the channel. Thanks for coming along for the ride. For me, I'm done. Questions, comments down the bottom as always. But till I see you again, when we brewing beer, drinking beer, or talking beer, good brewing. Oh yeah.